All right, welcome back, mathematicians. This is going to be solving with the quadratic formula. Okay, so if you don't remember what the quadratic formula, I'll go ahead and write it over here. This is going to be x is equal to negative b plus or minus square root of negative b, or sorry, oops, b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay. And so what that is going to do for us is it's going to solve for x. Like before, we were trying to figure out these roots using factoring, which is fine, right? When we have two roots, that's nice and easy. When we have one root, it even works for us. But what happens when we have no roots, like in this situation, right? Are there any real roots? No, there actually aren't any real roots, but there are something called complex roots, which is why we introduced complex numbers last time. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so first thing I want to do is I'm going to change this into x squared. If you want to watch that pro tips video to see how I'm doing all this amazing algebra, you can go ahead and do that, but I go ahead and do that in my head. Minus 4x plus 7. Okay, so I might start with something in a standard form. I might start with something in vertex form. Either way, if I start with in vertex form and I know, if I can think of my transformations and I know there's no real roots, I need to use the quadratic formula. If you try to use any other method on this, it's not going to work out nicely for you. Okay, so quadratic formula is the way to go when we don't have any real roots. So I'm going to use that quadratic formula. And again, don't forget your parts here. So we're going to have an A section. We're going to have, oopsie, well, that could be our, blue can be our A. We could talk about our B section. We'll make that A green.
Hey, I'm
And we could
recording
talk
this
about
post
our,
video, but
let's
go
put
ahead and
a
pause
red,
the video if you're paying
orange,
attention
orange is fine.
and draw a
C
pumpkin
section,
right
okay.
above
So we have our three parts
the
there.
page number, just so I
So
know
let's
you're
start with
paying attention.
B's. Actually, let's
Happy
start with
Halloween for
blacks. We'll
everybody
start with
soon.
blacks.
All right, we'll look forward to
We
it.
will go plus or minus. I'm going to put on all the minutia stuff. Squared minus 4 all over 2 negative. So this is all the setup that I need, right? So then I'm going to fill in what the other parts I need. Let's start with green. Why not? I want to try to get a green close to what I had before. Oops. I'll get a green that's close to what I had before. It's right about there. Okay. So all the B parts. So in here I need a negative 4 squared. I have a negative b out here, so I'll put a negative 4 in here. Okay, and then I think that's it for b's. So I'll put, let's see, it's a purpley, it's kind of, oopsie, let's undo that. Oops, sorry about that. Next is I have my A's. A's, I'm going to have one right here. Right, so this is a coefficient of 1. This is a 1 right here. And then I need a, oop, that turned black, that's okay. C's, so C is going to be 7. There you go. Okay, that's my setup. So a negative 4 with, I'm going to hit it with a negative, so that's going to just be a regular 4. Plus or minus square root. Simplify this thing, 16 minus 4 times 1 times 7. That's going to give me a 28 all over 2. Okay, so far so good. Here's where stuff starts to go awry. That's not a problem. 4 plus or minus. I have a negative a negative 12 in here. Okay. Which before we knew about complex numbers wouldn't have been an issue. Now, not so much. Okay. So at this point, I am going to, well, let's simplify it first. So then I have 4 plus or minus. I could pull a 4 out of there. So again, I have negative 1, a 4, and a 3. I broke it up, right? That 12 is equal to negative 1 times 4 times 3. And that 4 can be seen as a 2 squared. So I know, I'm going to put that up here. I'm going to have a 4 plus or minus. Let's see what I could take out. Well, I could take out a 2, right? 4 squared. So I'm going to take out a 2. I radical 3 all over 2. Okay. All right. So now I'm on the home stretch. I'm going to look for things that I can reduce, and I can see that I have a 2 here, and I have a 2 in here, and a 2 in here. I can't reduce if I had like a 1 and a 2, right? Only if I have both of those numbers. In other words, I'm going to factor out a 2 first. Let's do that. We'll factor it out. If I have common factors, this will just be divide this by 2. I just get left with the I. And look at that. We have a, oops. Ooh, there we go. We have a 2 over 2. 2 divided by 2. This reduces to 1. Don't say it cancels out because it doesn't. It reduces to a 1. And now I'm left with these 2 answers, right? I have 2 answers there. 2 plus I square root of 3. And then I have 2 minus I square root of 3. And there you go. So those will be my 2 roots. So again, that's an x equals. And there you go. Those 2 roots. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again next time.